Meeting will come to order at 6:05 p.m. 6:04 p.m. Member roll call. James O'Ku.
Here.
Natalie Sayre. Here. Don Bars. Peter Markey.
Here.
Ryan Casey. Paul Masaragios Anastasio. Chris O'Shea. Present. Daniel Theobald.
Present.
Vacant public member. National Resource Conservation Staff Jim Howard. San Mateo County Ag Commissioner Corin Whittle. Here. Farm Bureau Executive Director Jess Brown. UC Co-op Extension Representative Dr. Igor Lacan. San Mateo County Planning Commissioner, Planning Liaison Olivia Booth.
She's here.
Okay, thank you.
And you're recording, right, Olivia?
Yes.
She's recording.
Okay. Move on to oral communications to allow the public to address the committee on any matter not on the agenda. If your subject is not on the agenda, the chair will recognize you at this time. Are there any committee members with the subject not on the agenda? Any committee members, any member of the public that need to address the committee with the subject not on the agenda online?
No.
You. Officer elections for chair and vice chair. These positions are required to be filled by farmers. So, I believe
We did it last time. Do we want to put off one more month to make sure everybody's here?
it's completely up to you guys.
Want to put make a vote on it?
Oh, this is a great opportunity to make somebody chair that isn't here. There'd be no. I've seen that. Yeah.
Yes, okay, so, to vote. I just know the list.
I make a motion to put it off next meeting so we can have a greater attendance.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay.
So Olivia, that passed 5-0 to postpone. I don't know, can you hear him?
I was just gonna ask you, past 5-0 to postpone this, item 4, correct?
Yes, till December for all positions.
Okay, so next is committee nomination for AAC secretary. Is that need to be voted separately to postpone or is that one for all positions
I
covered?
think you could just do all positions.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
Right, actually, you're absolutely right on that.
Yeah, that is a good one to do. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's just, I really feel Cole would be really good. But he actually would be. But okay, having said that, number 6, committee member update and or questions to allow committee members to share news or concerns for items not on the agenda. So do any committee members have something to share regarding something that is not on the agenda?
I always.
You look like you just have this big secret.
I know.
Every time that you're.
She's reading everybody else.
I
know.
The chair recognizes Cornwell.
Thank you. So we have our growers workshop coming up on December 3rd. From 10 to 12:30 at the Half Moon Bay Library. Get 2 hours of continuing education credit for attending. We're gonna have produce safety and laws and regs. There. And then we are also planning, and I unfortunately don't have the dates right now, but we're also planning a private applicator certificate training along with the examination to renew the private applicator certificates. Farm Bureau is going to let us use their room. And so we'll do a training and then we'll do the examination.
You like George?
I don't know.
Hey,
I wasn't
Don,
here during the first, but, so basically, we're gonna have 2 sessions. So you have to wait, if you don't pass, you have to wait a week in between. So we'll have them, they're gonna be on Thursdays, and I think they're in December. Thursdays in December, so I'll try to find it in my email, what date it is.
That's the workshop.
It's not just a workshop, it's separate from
Yes.
the test, yeah. It'll be it'll be a shorter training specific to the test. And then it'll be the test. It's not to be confused with the workshop. Again, right now, I'll look up the information. Might know why it's been a little bit. And then we have field worker safety training will be on March 5th in Pescadero and March 6th in Half Moon Bay. And this is so the annual training that's required for field workers entering a treating field.
Corin, question on that. So the March 5th is Pescadero. What is the date for that March date for Half Moon Bay?
Next day. And I can't remember if this happened right before the last meeting. We found invasive shot hole borer in a trap in Redwood Shores. And please note, we found it only in a trap. We have not found the trees with the borer in it. So we're not.
More traps, quick.
What?
Put out more traps, quick.
So we went through and we checked our traps, actually. We were gonna put out more traps, but it's getting too cold for them to fly. So, so we'll see in springtime, but yeah, no, that's the idea. So we did have, UC A&R come over and check it out and kind of look through and see if they could help us figure it out. But yeah, so we're honing in on it, but we haven't found the trees yet. But definitely, it's at high-risk sites or riparian corridors, so they love box elder. It's like ice cream to them. But they'll attack other healthy trees as well. So we're really looking at like green waste facilities, campsites, firewood sales to find it. So San Jose found it about a year ago, and recently Santa Cruz, I believe it's in the Felton area, has found an infestation. So it's here. We don't know to what extent at this point.
What's the name of the pest again?
Invasive shot hole borer.
Shot hole borer.
And it's basically it's a complex, so there's a couple species in there.
Oh, okay.
Let's see, and then we have, we just mailed out 2 letters. One of them is on the neonicotinoid prohibitions in non-agricultural settings. So it's non-agricultural settings are those such as like, outdoor ornamentals, trees, home use, but I mean, it has to be outside. So you can no longer use neonicotinoids unless you're a certified applicator. And they have to be purchased by a licensed dealer. And then the second letter I sent out was on rodenticides. So there's prohibitions on first generation anticoagulants to mirror those that were put on the second generation anticoagulants. So ag has exemptions for rodenticides in here, but so you have to really review the label and the restrictions on that one. But most home use, so structural use, so all the bait boxes around structures are, most of the rodenticides in there have been prohibited until they've done some reevaluation of it.
Okay, so,
But ag does have some exemptions.
so this Germany.
They absolutely do, yeah. There's only about 2 to 3 active ingredients that are still available.
So if the
So-
Terminators use that, they're okay.
As long as they use the ones that are okay, so,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's the key is, those pest control companies, structural pest control companies especially need to, make sure that they're changing out those baits before January 1st.
And if we have purchased our own bait stations, what are we looking for to know whether or not they're acceptable?
The active ingredient on them,
Yeah.
my staff can help to
It would be
figure
in
it
the
out.
letter too.
Yeah, it'll be in the letter and it's on our website as well. And I guess I'm hesitant to, because I can't list them all off the top of my
Yeah,
head,
of course.
but because there's been other ones that were prohibited in previous years fairly recently, so. This one that just went into effect is, warfarin and chlorobastinone. Those are the ones that are gonna be prohibited on the first of the year, but there's other ones too. So, but definitely my staff can help figure out if you fall within, if your use falls within the exemptions that are allowed to. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Olivia, John Vars joined us.
Yes, thank you.
The chair recognizes Daniel Deable.
Thank you. Just a question, I guess, that just popped in my head with the rain coming. Every year I manage to get a bunch of free straw bales to use to, help manage water runoff and that type of thing. And this year, for whatever reason, the free bales that I normally got weren't available, so I had to buy a bunch. It's really expensive. I'm just wondering, does the county have anything where, because it just seems like there are straw bales everywhere. And then I think a lot of them probably just get dumped or something. I'm wondering if there could be some kind of program to make those available for farmers to use for erosion control.
I don't know of any, but I do know, sandbags usually come up during when they're gonna have a big rain event, but I haven't heard of it.
Well, the straw bales, what I use them for is more filtering, because there's all the talk about putting in regulations about how much sediment can run off farms. So for the past 4+ years, I've been basically setting up big filters with straw bales so that any water running off my property has to filter through the straw bales first. And it's worked really well.
Okay.
This is for the tailwater program. Ag waiver. Ag waiver, tailwaters,
I guess, I don't know, I'm not familiar with that.
that's a program that's that they don't, the tailwaters to go out of the properties. It's really a conventional farmers.
That's just, we're very slopey, so, when it rains a whole bunch, we can just have some natural erosion that happens. And so
Okay,
I've been able to prevent, probably several tons of soil going into the stream system by just filtering through the bales.
okay. I do, work with Department of Emergency Management, especially when there's issues that are coming up like disaster flooding.
Do they do it?
That I don't know. Is Eliza on here?
No, is Eliza on here, Olivia?
No, I don't see her name. But I do have one speaker, Dante, I'm trying to get my mouse to Dante Silvestri. Oh, and then RCD. So just a moment. I'll choose Dante Silvestri first. Go ahead.
In any event, I was
Yes,
just wondering
it
if
might
it
be
was something that,
RCD.
I think because I think there could be a combination of training and then resources made available. I mean, because when you can reuse the straw bales that were used for the agritourism to then prevent erosion, it seems like,
Mhm.
recycle those. And, just because it's been, I can buy my neighbors, it's fine.
Yeah.
Have you checked with the Rata? If they kind of have any?
Dante, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, now we can hear you.
Hold on, Dante, I'll tell you when you can start. They're kind of finishing up.
I would just stop in there, it's the end of their season and they don't have it lifted, but I don't know if they go through and filter anything that they can't reuse next year before they park it.
Well, and so again, the reason I brought it up here was because I thought it'd be a program potentially that would be generally useful. Erosion control on the coast is a big deal, so this has been super successful for us to use that available.
Good.
The chair, good point. The chair
Yeah.
recognizes Michael.
I just think Dante wants to make a comment.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Dante Silvestri.
Yes, for the Ag Commissioner. The crop report, you touched on the annual rainfall. You said there wasn't a really accurate gauge, or you didn't have access to one here on the coast side in Pescadero. And historically, the Public Works Corp Yard, actually La Honda, Pescadero, and even Princeton, the station's still in place here in Pescadero. It's more of an antique. They don't use it anymore. And then Gary Arata, I think, was the last person that did it for the Ag office for many years. Just wondering, did the county supply the equipment? Or was it a volunteer thing from the farmer? Did you find anything in a budget or any paper trail on that? It would be great to get some accurate data again going out here.
Yeah, I haven't found anything. That was kind of the problem, is that we lost our Pescadero station, and I'm not really sure which one we were getting information from. It might have been, I feel like it was a CAL FIRE resource that we were using for the gauge in Pescadero.
Gary Arata did it for many years, so we should be able to find a paper trail of that. And Ann Stillman, Director of Public Works, has been there for coming up on 40 years, so I'm sure she would know the history on the one there at the Corp Yard, and maybe we can get that one going again, or a newer one, so that might be something that works. Thank you.
Good, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Dante.
And
Any
then we
other
got one-
comments?
And there's one more, she said.
Who is it?
San Mateo RCD?
Hey everyone, it's Eliza with the RCD. Sorry it doesn't have.
It's okay. Hi, Eliza. The chair recognizes. Eliza, what's your last name for the record?
Milio, M-I-L-I-O.
Thanks, my dear. The chair recognizes Eliza Milio.
Awesome. Yeah, I heard my name and then also have some thoughts about the straw and the weather station. But yeah, Mike, did you have a question?
No, Daniel brought up that he used to get free hay bales for
Yeah.
controlling erosion. He was wondering if there was a source somewhere.
Yeah, no, I definitely am thinking about, I'll reach out to our team and just see if anyone knows of anything, because I think the use that you're speaking of, Daniel, is super, super relevant for our work and things that we're trying to avoid happening in the rainy season. So yeah, I'll look into it. I don't off the top of my head know of anything. I will say with the rain gauge kind of conversation, we do have a weather station in Pescadero at Harley Farm. It's a CIMA station, but it should track the rainfall pretty accurately. We also have, right now, we have the funding to put in another station. So we're kind of looking for a location to put it, maybe more in the South Coast, but we're kind of open to suggestions. But yeah, Corin, we can connect on that to see what kind of data we got out of that station.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Eliza, did you hear from the lady from Sustainable San Mateo?
I have not.
Okay, because I'll just say this this came up at the Farm Bureau, and nobody knew about the tire recycling event that happened at Pescadero High School.
Yeah,
So,
I recall that.
Right, the woman, I talked to the woman in charge of the department, and she said that she would be trying to get the Farm Bureau, and I told her, you, Eliza, to get on the list for notifications when there's recycling events.
Okay.
And she sent me, and I think I forwarded it to you, a site to find out, because somebody asked about recycling oil. And I
Oh,
think
okay.
I forwarded that to you. And if you
Yeah,
want,
I got what you forwarded. I didn't see anything directly from them, but
okay, she told me she was gonna call you and Jesse at the Farm Bureau. So,
okay. I'll keep
um,
an eye out.
so I don't know how big your net is. Should I also send it to Olivia to send to everybody here? For
Yeah,
like,
I would, uh, sure. I mean, I have a pretty, I would say can cast a pretty wide net in the ag community, and most of the folks in this room are on it. If not, I'll double check that they are.
okay. So I just wanted to throw in a,
Thank you.
Sustainability Department.
yeah, sustainability, yeah, San Mateo County, yeah.
Okay.
I forget her name, but
Carolyn Lee.
no, she was the head one. Chang, Payne, something like that.
Thanks, Mike.
Sure.
Thank you. Any other concerns, or something that someone wants to bring up, a committee member that, for an item not on the agenda? Okay, and we already did public, correct? So the next is Planning and Building Department, Director's Report from the Planning Liaison.
Hi, so there were no new planning agricultural permits that were considered by the Board of Supervisors or the Planning Commission. There was no new planning application, plan agricultural development permits that were received. And there was one coastal development exemption application that was submitted. And no other applicable projects. The next meeting is December 9th.
Do you have a, Olivia, do you have the report of the CDX that was approved that you have in this report? The report of that actual PLM?
Yeah, let me see if I can pull it up.
Is it possible to provide the committee with the actual report as well?
Touch.
For the record, it was 3300 Pomponio Creek Road, Pescadero, California, and it was approved.
Yeah, so that was for case number was PLN 2024-00285 for a new ag well, and that was for the address of 3300 Pomponio Creek Road, Pescadero.
Do you have the report that you could provide to the committee at the next meeting? I understand we could always look it up, but I'm just
Yeah,
wondering.
it would not be a report. It's I believe it's going to be a coastal development exemption form. But yes, that can be available.
Okay, well, the one that was filled out with the conclusion that they were approved for the CDX. Thank you. Okay, is that it? That's it, right?
That's everything for that item.
Okay, thank you very much, Olivia. So next is discussion items. A is the Pescadero Fire Station mitigation measures. Committee member Chair Natalie Sayre. Committee submitted a letter written by the AAC addressed to the county on October 22nd, 2024. So it's been about a month. We have not received a response from that letter. Is there any status that you have that we haven't received?
I checked with management today and they are working on a response. So I'm anticipating that they will send me a response and I can send it by email.
All right, thank you. There was a there was a PMAC meeting in Pescadero recently, a few days ago, and new information was given regarding the mitigation of the prime soil on this property. For the record, I do want to state that it's very concerning that we are the AAC committee that is to oversee prime soil land. And we had to, in fact, ask to be informed of this, any new or existing information. And it's been now a month and we still haven't been given any, but yet we will have to hear it secondhand if Peter or anyone else who was at the PMAC meeting, if you could let us know the changes as you heard them.
Yeah, one of the changes was, I heard when I was at the PMAC meeting, was that Cal Fire went to the Coastal Commission and asked if they could, instead of finding the farmland that hasn't been farmed in the Pescadero area, is it perhaps that Post could put an easement on 2 acres or on farmland, so that would in lieu of that. And they said, okay. So here, once again, they made all the decisions about public knowing or anything. That was the first that we heard of it. The other thing too, there's some discrepancy that we always found out on the previous policy. They had to find 2.5 acres that to replace, where Cal Farmer said, no, it's 2 acres. So I like to on the acreage amount, what did we understand in the past? Was it 2.5 acres?
We understood 2.5 acres. I believe that is what was posted by the Coastal Commission.
Okay, and the other thing too is there's the discussion, because there's a lot of people that wanted the pipeline to go to the high school for clean water for the high school, and the question was asked if you could have the water pipeline go to the high school without the fire department to be there, and they kind of alluded that they needed both, and to make it happen, and then the people there that would be half of the high school for clean water was basically saying that they didn't want to do a filtration system or anything like that there. They just wanted easy peasy clean water. And I brought up to the point that here about 8 years ago, the superintendent from the Pescadero High School called me because they heard that we had a filtration system that would work, that we would no longer need. And I said, yeah, it was just, and he said, we've got no money. I said, we'll figure out how you can do it. And there's also, and we could, so you could use a filtration system. And then there's talk that Kellex of the RCD could come up with a filtration system for them. But the people from the school, the way I got it is, no, they wanted that so it could just be a pipeline there, turn on the faucet and have clean water like being in the city. And so I also pointed out that years ago, the Agriculture Advisory Committee voted against the project of the fire station being moved there. And but the point is we're getting discrepancies and they're changing the rules in the middle of the game. One, the discrepancy of acreage, and 2 is they don't have to find replacement ground that was not farmed in the past. They just have to have hosts work with them to put an easement on the a certain amount of land to do that. And that was done with them asking the Coastal Commission. And so without anybody weighing in. So.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And the Coastal Commission said yes, is that
They
correct?
said yes, according to the lady that represented Cal Fire.
Okay.
And it's just and I also I spoke a little bit. I spoke that and said that, I'm gonna repeat myself, that the Agriculture Advisory Committee was voted against the project years ago, and spoke that about the superintendent wanting to was interested in our filtration system. So it's available. Call back when you figure something out. Never heard from them. And I also spoke that the year around 2014, our property directly is, adjacent to, the wells, the municipal wells, CSA 11. And we want it to be hooked up as well. And, they, when Don Horsley and Sarah Wilson all researched it out for me, it was said that we couldn't because it was deed through Loftville, through the township itself. And here I made the point now fire is going to be getting hooked up, but not immediately hooked up, and we should count as well. So.
Thank you. Anybody else with the comments or concerns regarding that matter? I just, I have something to say in addition to what I said earlier, just to reiterate as well, is that, that it is imperative the AAC committee is abreast by the county of these going-ons regarding prime ag land, whether it is zoned PAD or it's been changed to institutional, whatever the reason is, and that's certainly what happened here. I don't think that it was right that we had to be put in a position that we had to ask for information, but now that we have, I think while things are changing quite rapidly, I think that we should be getting the information a little bit quicker and be abreast of it so that we can do our job and make informed decisions. So the chair recommends Michael.
I was just gonna say is, for what you said, Peter, I think you said CAL FIRE appealed to the Coastal Commission. So they probably did they bypass the county then, Olivia, or do they have to go to the county and then the state to appeal that? Olivia?
I'm thinking,
Cause the county, it might not even be notified if it's an appeal directly to the Coastal Commission. You know what I mean? So
yeah, if it's an appeal, to the Coastal Commission, that's separate.
Right. So in this case, I mean, I'm just saying, in all likelihood, the county didn't even know the CAL FIRE was appealing this. Because they went to the state.
The chair recognizes Peter Markey.
One of the things they talked about that public members brought up was that they were always in the impression that this was going to come to the vote of the people about the fire station going over there to the high school, and they were worried that that might be swept under the rug as well.
I don't know anything about an election for the fire station. I don't know anything about that.
Just sharing what was going on.
Okay. Thank you for the report of the meeting, and hopefully we hear from the county soon, or something can be made, because the concern here is having more prime ag land being used, developed on, regardless of the reason, albeit some reasons are more important than others, and without our knowledge and our say. Go ahead, Chair, recognize Peter Markey.
The other thing too that I brought up at the PMAC meeting was that the way that the land was acquired, it was farmland where the high school used to be. It was acquired by the use of eminent domain, because by the year 2000, they predicted that there's going to be 2,000 students in that high school. And we all know that that didn't happen at all. So
2000?
Yeah, by the year 2000, in the 60s, they acquired that land by power of eminent domain and took it away from a farmer that was farming it. And because they felt by the year 2000, the year's 2024, there'd be 2,000 students there. So they didn't, the population of that school stayed the same since the day it was open. If not, it's probably a lot less. So when I went to school there and I graduated in 78, I think we got 110 kids there. So that 110 kids from 2000s, with about 12%, something like that. So they, my point is, the history of that is they took that land away from prime ag land out of production, as is by the experts, because they felt that the growth over there was going to be so high to have so many students there that just didn't happen at all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other discussion regarding this topic? Okay, so we will wait to hear more, and in the meantime, we will try to learn as much as we can through other means. Thanks. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Olivia. Next is Committee Member Chair Natalie Sayre drafting steps and paths for the county to help preserve and promote farm labor housing. So I guess I can begin. I'd like to begin that by asking Mike, do you happen to know the status? It was, I don't know if it was last year or several months ago, something like that, where we had sent a letter to your office and you guys let us know that you'd be working on it regarding the farm labor housing forgivable loan program, which I know that you guys were really good at, being creative with that. And we all discussed the issues regarding how much rent you're allowed to pay and all these other restrictions. And I think it was either this ag ombudsman, Eliza, thank you, or the one before that that actually did studies on that, but having said that, my point is, are you guys at the point that you're able to get back to us yet on that, or where are we?
No, Justin mentioned they're still looking at it, but they're trying to figure out, one, where they're going to get the money to loan it, and then what would be the parameters. Okay, because there was issues. Some people didn't like the parameters of the old program. And then once it was funded, there was no money coming in to replace it. So now they have to find a source to do it, and the state has I don't know, the deficits seem to change every day, so they got to try to find a new funding source for it. So
Okay.
I don't think there's any change in the status from the letter.
Okay, all right, we'll just.
I'll check with it so I can report back in December.
Okay, that sounds great. Just, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll just circle back and, the any other thoughts, discussion on that before I move to the next one?
Yes, so we had a little, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Really,
Speak
Daniel?
out of turn here.
The chair recognizes Daniel Beal.
Yeah, we had some conversation about housing for family last time, and I want to make sure we just don't lose that. The whole multi-generational farm being very difficult right now because there's no way to actually have a place for the next generation to live on the farm.
Yes,
Talk about.
yes,
Yeah.
and
Legacy that.
Mike
Yeah.
suggested legacy, and I really appreciate you bringing that up because I think you're right. We don't want to lose that. And I don't see that in these,
And then.
notes in the minutes.
That's the
Density
currency,
planning,
right?
Yeah, however it happens, I think it's really important. I mean, if our goal is to keep multi-generational farmers on the coast, you actually have to have the ability to house them. And we don't right now.
In the way of doing that, like we were talking earlier, Mike talking earlier. So if it happens to be, a son that works over the hill or daughter that has a high paid income and they don't, and it's some legacy that doesn't require the 20 hours a week average and 50% come from the farm because they are helping out their family farm. They can live there doing so, and regardless how much they work or not, as long as they're family and helping without the
Yeah, I think that's the key. Yeah, because with the criteria as they stand, many people would be
No, I get it.
prevented
Yeah,
from passing farms on to their children.
I was just speaking what we did before.
I was just going to suggest, since I can't vote, but discussion items, change the agenda. It says right now, list of methods to help farmers stay in the area. That's one meeting, but if you were to put in there, list of methods to help generational or multi-generational farmers stay in the area. That would,
I think that, yeah, this actually doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't really reflect what we discussed. Olivia does the agenda. So Olivia, would you be interested in writing that up a little bit differently?
Yeah, do you want to go ahead and suggest rewording?
I think it covers it, preserve and promote farm labor housing. I think it covers because it's just one with it.
Okay, if it's up to the
no,
committee.
we were talking about number C, not B.
Yeah, they're two.
They're two different things.
They're two different things. But keeping farmers in the area sounds like preserving present day agriculture. But if you put multi-generational farmers in there, that's showing you want the legacy.
I guess
thing.
it covers both. then,
Well,
Yeah,
You could say preserving agriculture on the San Mateo County coast, which is basically our
Yes.
mission statement. And I think it's something that's underserved. So if the committee agrees, Olivia, could you write, instead of this, preserving agriculture on the San Mateo County coast, which is what I intended to do, or I'm intending to try to do, actually.
But it is a way of preserving it, just by having the family members be able to stay up. That's.
Yes, that's true, but that's not the only way.
Yeah, and I, we shouldn't stick to one way, we should stick to it.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
It's completely up to you guys as a committee. I think as a committee, we all know what we're doing. But if you think it should be changed and committee members agree, then you could have Olivia change it. If you think you don't need to change it, you could have her not change it.
Yeah, I think maybe the points that you're trying to make is that, if we're trying to cover too many different topics within a specific, like, we're gonna draft a letter perhaps to propose ideas to the county for how to achieve these things. It seems like in this case, it seems wise to maybe create two separate things, one for farm labor housing and one for helping farmers stay on the area, because they don't necessarily wouldn't have all the same solutions. It seems to me that one way to help farmers stay in the area would be to do things like what you're suggesting to make it easier for multi-generational farmers to have access to housing for their families. So it seems like that could fit within there. I thought we kind of moved quickly on.
Yeah, I didn't think we
From
were,
D.
yeah, I didn't think we were at C yet.
Okay.
oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I
I thought, that's why I thought you were talking about B when you mentioned that, because I hadn't.
Oh, no, I was talking about C, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That was probably my bad.
Because I do have a status of where I am with that, that I'd like to share with the committee is, so basically, I'm meeting with Jess Brown, to discuss some of the differences in our county and San Mateo County versus Santa Cruz. And so that's where I'm starting in terms of regulations and things like that, that we mentioned at the last meeting. We had brought up the difference when you subdivide the land and you lose a density credit and you have to put a house in the low income housing. In San Mateo County, that's in perpetuity. In Santa Cruz County, it's for 10 years. So that, so things like that. And so we talked and we had a discussion, and he is writing up something. He's going to send it to me, and then we're going to have a follow-up meeting with that. The second thing that I wanted to ask the committee is I would like to open this up. It's not that I want more work in my life, but beginning in January, if in fact you all are okay with it, I would like to open it up to be able to talk to other farmers that aren't on the committee and get their feedback, so I could bring it back to the table and get some of that in the mix as well. Or unless you have a different way that you'd like me to approach that.
I think we're still in the brainstorming stage where like you need to get data from Jess Brown, people want to get data from other farmers. So that way there we could discuss all the different ideas and then we could put it in a bullet point and list it 1, 2, 3 of different things that we like that would, and to see that we could send to the county, which we're a little bit too early to send because.
Well, yeah, this is, I don't envision this happening right away, sending anything. I envision this encompassing many months, but I really want to take the time to research it fully.
That's fine.
So how do you feel about me talking to farmers and other farmers as well and bringing some of what they say to the table, either confidentially, not giving their name or giving their name, whatever they prefer? Is that okay?
They might have ideas that we didn't think about.
Right,
that could
exactly.
help, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so. The chair recognizes James O'Keefe.
I think that's great. And people are always welcome to, you know, attend our meetings and share their opinions personally. I just want to make sure that like it is a wide cast net and then it's not just like one sector of the various ag communities, because we are pretty split up, so.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
Yeah, my question would be like, how do you select who you're reaching out to?
Okay,
I don't know, you know,
Just the Farm
we don't
Bureau.
all know everybody, you
Right.
know more people than I do, but maybe.
well, we could do it, do you want to do it geographically? I can approach people in different regions, or do you want to do it based on the crop that they grow? And I could do
think
5 of
James is
each
thinking
crop.
Also, like, let's not forget about the green people that have greenhouses.
Right, of course,
But yeah, there's lots of different
yeah.
types of ag on the coast.
So if we take the bite of each apple, if you will, of the crops, the different crops, then a little bit, we talked to 2 greenhouse people, we talked to 2 floriculture, we talked to 2 row crops like that. Is that what you're thinking? Yes.
You know, as we're talking, this is just a suggestion. What if we had publicized a workshop in the meeting, that would be our meeting,
That is a great idea.
and just, and it would be, that's the only thing on the agenda.
I love that.
And then you know, how somebody has the board and idea number 1, number 2.
Absolutely.
Paper.
Yeah.
and all that,
Absolutely.
So we can get data, from, the farmers, and then we just, we could put the word out.
That would be exciting. Could we do that, Olivia, at one of our meetings? But in addition to the typical advertising you do, advertising the meeting, we also take it and we, you know, obviously word of mouth, but we do something like a flyer or something to let farmers know. Right? Is that what you're thinking?
It's a public meeting, and it can be agendized.
Right.
And it could be, but let's put it, because that's gonna take a lot of time, the first thing in the meeting. And then the other stuff that's be after.
Right.
And a lot of stuff we don't finish, or we just put over to the following meeting.
And if we don't have, right, and if we don't have any applications for anything, that could be potentially the only thing on the agenda.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea because we want to do this, we want to dig into this as deep as possible. And I think that could be a start. And then if we feel like we're missing out on the different areas of farming, because we want to get the people doing beef cattle, we want to get the people, with the floriculture and this and that, then we could go into the fields.
I think different workshops that they did like the work paper and so.
Right.
They wrote down their ideas that we could split
Right.
over. I've been to workshops that have been many people, so they went in groups of 8. And they
Right.
all wrote, and then they went
Absolutely.
together. So there's different ways to do it. And
Absolutely. I think it's a great idea. The chair recognizes Corn Little.
Do you think there's a particular time of day when it's easier for more farmers to get together? Cause I think that's always like,
I
that's always a question for us, the best time of year and the day and the time.
And it's maybe the low attendance of these meetings have to do with the time that
Yeah.
it's happening at.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was.
People don't want to take time off work to come to them.
Mhm.
But were we talking about just agendizing within a regularly scheduled meeting or creating a separate thing?
Let's open the discussion.
Well, what did you want to do? I like both ideas. I like the workshop idea better because I think it's less formal And we could really do it like a typical workshop. But I don't know if that's allowed or if it has to be within one of our meetings.
I think it has to be with one of our meetings.
Can I also, when you're ready, Dante Silvestri has a raised hand when you're ready.
Okay, the chair recognizes Dante Silvestri.
Great,
you.
thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you're talking about ranchers and farmers. And yeah, it more sounds like a special meeting that might obviously hit in the new year in a bigger venue. I don't really see it happening in the little room that you're in. You're gonna, housing, you're gonna get a turnout for sure. So yeah, whether it's an AAC meeting or a special meeting or just whatever that might be, but a bigger venue, probably in the new year, and definitely at night. It's hard for people to pull away. Even these earlier meetings are tough. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Daniel Theobald. I would be next, Mike.
I was just gonna say, I mean, if we are not allowed to hold a meeting outside of this, then certainly maybe the Farm Bureau or the RCD or somebody could help out on that front, and we could attend.
That's something.
I like we do.
Yeah, I feel that way too. That's a great idea, I think, but I feel like we've already started with the process and we're so passionate about it.
And we want to be the one to advise
Yeah.
the county, cultural advisory committee.
Yes.
And so I think I would like it to be our meeting, even if our meeting's at a different location. If it's at the library where there's plenty of room, and I agree with Dante, evening, like 6 o'clock or whatever. And we could have our meeting, say at the library, and this could be at the first thing on the agenda that would cover the first hour and a half. And then we could finish the last half hour of our regular meeting. So
Does the library have like a dry erase board or the paper, the flip paper or something like that?
They have we have your meetings at this dry erase board, right?
Cause I okay, let's do that. Cause I've done a lot of workshops like that.
Yeah.
And I love them. And I'm very comfortable with them, so I would love to do
You like
this.
writing.
Oh,
And then,
you heard it.
That's the best thing that's ever happened in the AC meeting
Make all her.
let's see, and then we, in the workshop, we need to have guidelines what we're looking for. And then we're looking for in farming housing, ranch housing, all this here. But we're not gonna be coming to a conclusion. Then when we come to our meeting after, we can go through and talk to each one idea of which ones that we like and which ones we feel works and why it won't work, so we can streamline it down. And then we can discuss what we like to,
Right. And also, I think what'll be good about this too is that we're gonna hear stories of things that have happened to different people that have made it so that they've come up with this, hey, this is why I need this. This is what happened to me. And that makes such a difference, so I love it. Can we, is that possible to do, Olivia, then? Is it possible to do, I guess my question is, well, first of all, are you in agreement that you want to do a workshop or you want to do it within a meeting? And then we could ask her which one we are allowed to do.
are we allowed to do a separate workshop?
Would you guys like to do that? I'd like to, if you agree. Do you all agree or do you feel differently?
I think it could be beneficial.
Okay,
I would like to, but I don't know if we're able to, so I'd like to hear what Olivia has to say. about it.
exactly. Olivia, are we able? to?
I'm gonna have to check. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay,
I think what you're looking for is, you're probably gonna need, if you're gonna break into tables and stuff like that, you're gonna need probably 2 or 3 facilitators. And you're gonna really have to nail down there's what, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different topics here. Do you wanna have one meeting and each table is a different topic? And people kind of like rotate around or whatever, and I will tell you at 6 o'clock, people like to be fed, so are you gonna like feed them and they will come, okay?
that's
You know.
something that we could discuss. The only thing is, like, as I'm looking at C And when you look at list of methods to help farmers stay in the area, basically those methods will probably encompass things from housing, which is B, and things from, things that attract new applicants is basically, you know, that's a whole different thing. So C, and it just encompasses, it's gonna encompass housing too. Basically, all it is, you know, it's help farmers stay in the area, help farmers be able to farm in the area, preserve ag on the San Mateo County coast. So in doing so, we, yeah, it's gonna encompass that. I think that just needs to be the blanket right there.
Yeah.
And I think when we facilitate it, it needs to be everybody in one big forum, not breaking up into tables.
Some people are intimidated in a room of like 40 people standing up and talking, but they're more comfortable coming to a table with 6 to 8 people. You know what I
We
mean?
need facilitators for every table.
Yeah, right. Or some scribe for every table.
I've seen it both ways.
Yeah.
I've seen it breaking up tables late, and I've seen it, like you said, people standing up and somebody on.
I think we could do a little bit of both. Like we could start the meeting with the stand up and, you know, this is why we're here. This is what we're doing. This is what's important to you. Get some bullet points and then break up into the tables.
And we could
Right.
probably talk to the San Mateo County Communications Office about advertising it or marketing it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And ag week or anything, we should advertise.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We
I
should,
could help with
we
that.
should discuss what type of, workshop we would like. If we would like the ESOP on the paper only, and everybody's, raise their hand and speak, or the breakaway on the table.
I think it depends on the attendance, right? So
Yeah,
if we, if we got like only 30 people, we could do it just without breaking up, but if we got more.
And then we should have, this put out, so that way they would, send if they're gonna attend, so we would know how many people are gonna show up.
Okay, so we'd do an RSVP thing. That might be tough, right? To get people to RSVP. I mean, when you have your workshops, right? It's an issue, isn't it?
Last minute sometimes, but, and then we call.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of like do a little,
Sorry.
but ours is a little. But I mean, we're focused in on, you know, getting those workshops done, but I think.
First thing we need to know if Olivia, if we can do.
Right. Well, would she
Yeah.
be able to let us know by the next meeting? Is that what you're looking at or?
Olivia,
Yeah, I'm just gonna check with management and get feedback from them.
because I would think it'd be basically the same as the planned Princeton thing you just did at
Yeah,
Ray's office. It's just, except this one's for agriculture, so it would fall under the same purview.
Did you have a facilitator?
Yeah, I think.
yeah, planning staff and the consultant
staff.
were
Okay.
facilitating. And there
Was
was
it-
about 25, 30, 25-ish people at least.
Yeah,
Was anybody involved in the agricultural summit probably over 10 years ago?
The one that was at the high school,
Yeah, no, I
Appleby High, it was long, it
mean,
was longer than that, I was there.
as a student or a farmer.
The one that was in San Mateo County.
Yeah, I think
At
maybe
the
it's
fair-
that
The
one.
fairgrounds, I was at that one as well.
Okay, was that more recent?
That
Like
was-
Don Horsley was part, I
Yeah,
think
that was
Brent
over-
was part of
That was
it.
about 10 years ago. as well.
Yeah. I was thinking it was like 2012 or something
Your
like that.
dad, sat in the front.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and talked about the water.
See, I didn't go to it, so I'm not
So,
really sure,
yeah.
but I know it happened and
Yeah,
this is kind of sounding.
this is
similar.
over, it was over 10 years ago.
Yeah, sounding
And
similar.
I think there was quite a few people there.
Did they do breakout like tables or did they
No, I don't think they did on
just
that
did
one.
like discussion, panel discussions?
Panel discussion. That one wasn't this much, the ag summit, we didn't break out. There's one that we had at the Farm Bureau building years ago, that we broke out the tables with discussion. The one we had at the IDS hall, this was a few years, about 3-4 years ago, of ideas keep an eye on the coast, I think they broke out tables, I don't know, it's hard for me to remember.
Oh, yeah, that one, that was a few years ago.
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember that one.
And then pizza.
Yeah.
So
You remember the food?
we could provide food, but it would have to be, obviously, the county would have to.
The one
Yeah,
thing, the
I
one
don't know if
thing
they
too
do
is
that.
when you
They
get
pay
it
for
this
that.
big. And if we're looking at ideas of what we're thinking, you're gonna get people going so far off left field.
Yes.
That's why
So you need to.
You have to streamline it,
Or,
absolutely.
or let's just have it in our meetings. And just invite some up.
But that's why we should open it with everybody. So we have streamlined it. We have said, this is what we're looking for. These are the areas like that. And each person that's there, when they give the information to the person at the table, they say, okay, what kind of crop they grow or whatever. So we know where the information's coming from. The chair recognizes, Crystal Shea.
It looks like you need to have everybody together, voice the
And that's
goal,
what
split up, have a little secretary within that group, and then
Right.
after everybody's had their chance to go over
Right.
the
And
ideas,
come back.
then
yeah.
we all come back because
Absolutely, yeah.
Joe over here could have the same idea as Bill over here, and
Right.
then we're not repeating or
Absolutely.
wasting a lot of time, then we can kind of.
And then the person, and just like in just almost like, the person could be the delegate for each table, and then they're gonna say what the table said and what they came up with, and then we're gonna write it on the board and we're gonna have something. And it's not so much about a race to get this to the county as much as it is, let's make something that
It's the brainstorm.
it's gonna make a difference, yeah, that we'll get it as a county, but let's look at everything that's gonna help. Like you and I were talking about what you do and the amazing, by the way, things that you do on your farm. Some of those things that help farmers in terms of robotics and things like that. There's things that aren't even related to what the county could do, but it's just about what can we do? Some of it the county can help with, some of it is just things that can help farmers, but to help preserve ag on the coast, you know what I mean?
How they had it was, when they had that one of the ideas, all like you said, in the pizza, they had a specific thing at our table, and they had, and it was open up to, people that was not even ag, the person that was architect, the tillage, the tillage, speaking right now, he wasn't even in that, but he was good at that, and they, asked if he would help, and he was at our table, and then we came up with our ideas, and then that one person spoke for each table of 8 or 10 of the ideas and wrote it down, so.
Daniel Theobald.
Yeah, I was just going to say, maybe in addition to this, maybe instead of it, if it doesn't work out, I just had the interesting thought of, we could potentially invite farmers from different sectors here to this meeting explicitly over a period of months as well. Right, so we could have next month, we could invite the ranchers and say, hey, we're explicitly going to talk about rancher issues on the coast side. Or in San Mateo or whatever the right region is, and how we can help preserve ag here.
I love it.
And then that may get more people coming here and expressing their thoughts.
I think
maybe.
that's a great idea.
So,
Yeah,
And then the next month, we could have
yes.
greenhouse operators, and the
Yeah.
next month, we could have whatever.
I love the workshop idea a lot, because I love that stuff. But, but this is way more controlled,
That's right.
like you said.
That's right.
I
that.
love it.
Although when you get more people, you get more ideas, and something Daniel could say could trigger something else somebody else is
Yeah.
thinking.
I think,
So
I kind of like the
I think
idea
it's
of
a
maybe
win-win.
looking at both of them and.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like Daniel's, I love, I'm not gonna give up, but I do love it so much, the workshops, but this, I just feel like it's.
So maybe we
it's-
could start doing this immediately.
And then
While
we
we
can
start
move on
working
to a
on the
workshop.
workshop, and the workshop could almost be, this is what we've heard over the past 5 months as we've had people come and share ideas with the AAC.
Like a
And
follow-up.
yeah.
That's, yes,
And now let's
yes.
all talk about it more, maybe prioritize, maybe consolidate
I think that's
between the different
perfect.
interests.
good examples.
Exactly, I think that's perfect, and
And then say, we're doing this first, maybe be enough, we don't need to go to the next step, or maybe we do.
right, and then we'll know.
Then we don't need to feed people.
Well said, well said.
How to limit our pizza.
Well said. Darn, I think Peter is looking forward to that pizza.
Yeah, it just seemed to me if we like explicitly invite, say, we want you to come to the
Right.
committee meeting and share your thoughts.
But so when we invite, you mean like, so this time we're inviting the ranchers, this time we're inviting the flower growers, but this time we're inviting like that. Is that what you're saying? So each be,
Lauren, can you email them for us?
I probably could.
Yeah.
As
That
long
would
as
be
I have
great.
their email.
so this, I think we're
In a-
getting
in a
somewhere.
database
And then maybe
that's
we have a
public
master
record.
list and then we've highlighted who's been able to attend.
Right,
And then at the end of it, anybody who was not able to attend, the assigned one that they were given,
yes,
kind of,
Yeah.
Corey's
Corey's office does have a list of all the growers. So
exactly.
that way they
Yeah.
have to look out. See who's
And
missing.
divided by what they grow, obviously.
And then you guys can fill in the who's missing.
Yes.
Okay, so Olivia, could we do that where, in the interim, before the workshop, but find out about the workshop, but also, beginning, when would you like to, would January be a time to begin, New Year? Beginning in January, this lovely lady over here has offered her services to email the different
Yeah.
growers.
If you guys have a thing, we can.
Right, and
start.
She'll email. And so for the January meeting, we will have where we are inviting them. First group of growers, and we're doing it by crops. And we're gonna get their feedback on this issue. And yeah.
Let's talk about how we're gonna divide it.
Okay,
We can go, ranchers.
I mean,
okay.
why not just do it by the proper part?
By the different sectors.
Yeah, why don't you bring up,
Would be-
Pardon me.
what do you have on your, don't you have a list on your computer of the different, the growers, different, not their names, but the different categories?
Yeah, the flower, we have outdoor, indoor nursery stock.
Okay,
So that could be potted plants, but that could also be flowers.
okay.
How about all that together? Is that too many indoor, outdoor / pot plants?
Yeah.
Okay.
How many it's a spare lots.
I know that too.
Yeah.
That would be a little bit harder for me to tell you right off the top of my head.
If you do ranchers and then you do, the flower growers / greenhouse pot plant growers,
Okay,
that's the second one. Then if you do the third one, row crops,
okay.
then there's.
Ornamentals, like the Christmas trees.
Vegetables.
The crop
Pumpkins.
report refers to fishery. but
Well,
we're not Gonna get into that.
Do we have
So we
any
have
fisheries?
vegetables as a category.
We do.
Well,
Then we have.
Well,
fruit.
vegetables are, right? That fall into that.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
And then fruit and nut crops. So that is
Do we
pretty
have
much
any?
wine, grapes, but that's kind of like a unique sector of
You can-
growers.
You can get a
Estate
few.
grown.
Well, rather than blow a meeting on them, because if there's only like
Yeah.
two, baby, we can put them
Invite
in with,
Okay.
right, we can put them in with row crop, we'll put them in with ornamentals, right?
So then we got
I grow
livestock,
fruit.
Which is ranchers.
yeah, ranchers, but we also, apiaries actually considered a livestock. Bees,
We can tell
do you
the,
want bee?
the
Because
apiary.
normally bee people
Yes.
are a little less
Put them
commercial,
with the fish.
but more, what was that?
Bumblebees are now fish, so put them with the.
Oh my gosh, where'd that come from? I forget where that came from.
Bumblebees are fish.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
4 species of bumblebee that were, the California Supreme Court said are
Yeah, gosh,
invertebrates like fish, so they're subject to.
I remember
protection.
that, now that you say.
blind fish.
So fish, we don't actually take note of the fish, that's California Department of Fish and Wildlife. I just put it in the crop report for informational purposes. So I wouldn't be able to give you those
The-
fisheries, no.
the fish.
Okay.
Unless if you really want them, I could probably figure it out.
No, I don't think it really falls under our purview.
Yeah, I
I
don't
mean, we
know
do
that.
want,
We can't be
We want
discriminatory against
back
fishing
too, but-
people, right?
Well, if they're
We are
aquaculture.
incorporating fish.
Right, we need to have, right? We'll just put them in with the other categories, so then they're not just by themselves, so if there's just one fish guy.
Do
Put 'em
we
with the
have
fruit
aqua, so We have aquaculture though, I think.
Aquaculture?
We do,
Yeah.
Okay, but
Have-
that,
Like,
yes.
they should just go with somebody else.
Yes.
yeah, then that would be
Yeah.
fish,
I don't know if it's
bumblebees,
still happening.
aquaculture, okay.
Or.
Yeah.
So who do we want to invite for January? Who do you want to be first? So we get this all down and then we could give it to Olivia and boom, we could get started.
Least important one. So
Very-
we cut our teeth on.
I think the rancher first.
You don't, we
Yeah, I
don't
don't
say
know.
that out loud.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
I didn't mean least important, I meant the
The
fewest.
smallest.
Yes, the smallest. That's what I meant.
Okay, well. Okay, well, what, I
Field
don't know.
crops.
I feel like we should go to, I feel like we should do one of the bigger ones first, the opposite kind of, I don't know.
First of all, let's see what categories you are, because
Okay.
there's some that are small with that we can clump
Okay.
together with the
All right.
others and see what we're gonna do.
Okay, so of the categories that, okay, go ahead, and give me the categories again, and we'll figure this. All right.
Okay, so the big overarching category is floral and nursery crops.
Floral
But
and
within
nursery,
that is indoor and outdoor grown.
indoor and outdoor grown, okay, so
Yeah.
that could be within itself. Do you think there's enough growers in San Mateo County to come by itself, or should that be with something else?
I think it, because includes cut flowers, it includes Christmas trees.
Oh, okay,
It includes, like I said, indoor grown flowers, outdoor
Okay.
grown flowers,
okay, so that'll be.
flowering potted plants.
Yeah,
That's one.
And
right
nursery stock too, so outdoor grown nursery stock.
okay, great, so
That's
Okay,
probably
that's a
decent
good one. And then ranchers include too, ranchers, livestock.
Yeah, so I would
You
say
could put
that would be like,
It's a fairly large.
Is
group.
there enough of there, of
Is that
those
good
guys?
dairy?
what was that?
Is that good dairy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
dairy,
include
okay.
dairy.
Kid, another
Livestock products. is
ranchers, is
helpful.
there enough by its alone, or should we
oh,
put fish
boy.
and bees with ranchers?
We
Speaking
could,
with a heartbeat.
well,
You could put the bees with the livestock.
Yeah.
I don't know
Okay.
if that's a good mix or not, though. Is it a good?
It doesn't matter, it's just numbers.
yeah, Mike O'Neill,
Logistically, do we need to ask the city if that bigger room is available?
I think so.
I mean, is there 2 people gonna show up for these or 35? We might need to reserve that room, 1, and then 2, I might be just jumpy, but I think we only have this until 8 o'clock. No, I'm not talking about tonight, but I'm talking about for one of these events. If we're only allowed to be here till 8, you know what I mean? Cause we have to communicate to the city of Half Moon Bay.
okay, so
Yes.
how about you know what, Mike, I think you're amazing at logistics. How would you, how would you like to, can you be in charge of that?
Okay, I'll find out,
Thank
but
you.
now I don't know if there's a charge for using that room. And then I
Okay.
have to find out from the city, county,
Is there a charge for this room?
I don't know,
We have a
Yeah. Olivia, what'd you say?
process of contract and there's insurance involved, et cetera.
Oh, maybe she's at home, so she might be talking to somebody else.
Okay, all right, so logistically, but.
I will look
find
into the
out-
logistics.
Find out if there's any difference in costs and if there is, if the county will pay for it, how that works, okay?
Well, from what you're saying, some groups could be in this room, no problem. Other groups, we might need to use the big one.
I think so. All right, that's fantastic, thank you, okay, so Mike is in charge of that, and then, all right,
See what groups we
Okay,
have.
so the groups we have- well, so far we only have 2 groups, but, we didn't do the row crops, right? So
Yeah,
row
so
crops,
vegetables.
veggies, and all that stuff.
So that's probably about 30 to 40 people.
For the row crops?
Yeah.
But not
I
everybody's
don't
gonna
think
be
there's
here.
that much in this.
That's the problem with my information is that we do certified producer certificates, and so a lot of times there's smaller operations.
Yeah,
that
but
you
there's still a
probably-
body for each fund, yeah.
Yeah. And
But
then-
yours encompasses the whole county too.
Yeah,
Well,
it
most of
does.
them are here. so-
Yeah, you want unincorporated unincorporated,
Yes, okay,
Okay.
yes. Okay, so,
not city happening
no, I mean, I don't think so, right? It's not applicable, or am I missing that? Maybe for the bees.
I mean, I think
I
everything.
mean,
in
you're
the
talking
county-
about, yeah, but
Mm,
you're talking
sure.
about ag stain.
Yeah, I think and incorporate.
I think you just bring them all in. That's my thought.
You wanna bring them all in at one.
I don't think you wanna differentiate between like the city and.
No, I meant breaking down.
Oh, no, I think.
We have to
breaking
break
is
it
good.
down.
I think it makes it more manageable.
But you're saying if whether it's unincorporated San Mateo County or whether it's the city,
Yeah.
but you're saying city of Half Moon Bay,
Well, I mean, City of Half Moon Bay should definitely be included, don't you think?
didn't you mean all the other cities too?
Yeah, so
But there's
so
not too
my
many
stuff
farmers
also
in-
includes like say Portola Valley, like
Okay.
maybe there's some grape growers, there's some,
Okay,
I mean, like one fruit.
how many
Tree.
people on the email list? How many
Yeah,
people
Yeah,
on the list?
so what it's not gonna.
What's our- What's our area of agriculture? We go to those?
You, I think, are unincorporated, right? This is just for unincorporated.
Since I don't want to discriminate against the cities of, but since we're just, that's who we cover as unincorporated, maybe we should just focus on what we cover, you
Yeah, I
know,
think
right
so,
or wrong?
yeah.
What do you think? You
Well, I mean, I
that
think you're talking about agriculture,
in general,
yeah.
so we should.
But that, it's hard for
Maybe-
me to take that hat off because I represent like,
No, that's
all
okay,
of
we
it,
need
whether-
that hat, so that makes sense.
so I mean, I think you're talking about ag and I don't know that I mean,
It
the
seems-
county can really do something about the unincorporated area versus the city, but I think it's, you guys. it's all the
Someone
same
doing
issues.
agriculture in a city may have a good idea to share with us.
Exactly.
Right, and we're
yeah.
looking at, yes, there's a lot of things that are issues that the county can help us with and that we're asking the county to maybe change. But we're looking at with a broad spectrum of just saying, hey, what can we do to support? Right, so I think maybe we should for that reason. What kind of email list are we looking at? How many people?
So the thing about the emails is that I have emails for CalAC permits, which is the operator ID, restricted materials, the pesticide part of it. That's where I have emails. That's why I was saying, I don't know if I have emails like for everybody.
Okay,
So it might be like a patchwork of sort of figuring out how we can kind of get everybody.
Well, you can just send out a staff member to drive to each, right?
Oh, yeah.
why not, right?
Well, maybe one.
And then I'll have them collect crop report information too while they're at it. How about that?
Once, I mean, once we get a schedule worked out and we say this month we're gonna have this group and that month, then I think we can get the word out in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I
imagine the
I
Farm
agree.
Bureau and the RCD and other organizations would be willing to
I
announce.
think it'll
that
work,
that's
but
gonna-
kind of giving you, like, I know like this represents probably about 170. But like, again, those are like these, there's some backyard people in
Okay.
here, there's, you know,
Right.
some apiaries that are really, really small.
Okay,
So I would say like vegetable
That's
is
it.
about 30.
So if there's
Okay.
170,
I think we're fine
it's
because,
no
and
less
that,
than 60 we divide by 30.
But
and
that's
that
like people
includes the
come.
city people? That includes the city?
That includes
City
the
up?
whole county.
Okay.
This is the whole county.
With the cities, in the cities too, like if you're not unincorporated in the city?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I thought it was gonna be way
Yeah.
more. I think that's fine. I think if not, we gotta include everybody. I think it's good. Yes. I say yes. What do you all say? Yes?
Sure, that's fine.
Oh,
Okay.
include everybody?
Not everybody, but everybody on the list. You know what I mean? The cities and unincorporated. Right? And then we do, okay, this is great. Okay, so you're in charge of email lists, right?
See, the Cole's
Yeah,
not.
Okay.
as long as
in
it's a
charge of
public
something.
record.
As long as it's a public
Yeah,
record.
see, Cole.
Yeah,
got it.
in charge of something.
Okay,
And then,
so there's people that are not in the public record.
okay,
that Exist, so that'll be like, you guys will have to figure.
okay, so we have to maybe do flyers, if you will, or something.
Yeah, something
Now-
like that.
Olivia, when you send out the packets, do they go to the RCD and other ag committees, like the Farm Bureau and stuff like that? Or do they just go to individual people?
So I'm gonna double check on that because I know I send a mass email out and there's How many people are there on there? I feel like roughly, I'll double check the number. I feel like there might be 1,000 people who are on that auto email when I send out the packet.
Okay, so that'll be on,
Um,
and then Peter and Crystal, you're on the Farm Bureau Committee, right? So would you guys make an announcement at the Farm Bureau Committee?
Yeah.
Okay, to whatever it is that we're doing. If we started in January, and if January is, the floral nursery people, and that's gonna be our first one, or if it's ranchers, like, who do you wanna do first for our first one? Do you guys wanna decide? Yeah, so then we could tell her, she could start advertising it for thinking about it for January.
First of all.
So can I just ask some clarifying questions on this? I'm just looking back at my notes on what we've discussed so far. So
Can you
you're
say that
wanting,
again?
I'm just looking back at the notes I've taken so far on this. So you're wanting to do these as special AAC meetings, correct?
No.
No, I think they're inviting different groups to come to the regularly scheduled ag advisory meetings.
Yeah,
Okay,
maybe
so there's
for
no-
a
I have
few-
no- okay,
A few
so-
months in a row, we would have one of our agenda items would be a discussion on this topic, and we will
Right.
have intentionally invited representatives of different parts of the agricultural community
Right,
to those meetings.
And
exactly.
I'm sorry, because our meetings are only once a month, how you're,
Well, so in January's meeting would maybe be the ranchers and livestock and dairy people we're inviting. That we're asking them if they could please come and give input. February's meeting would be, say, the row crop and vegetable people. March's meeting, the nursery, floral and nursery people, like
right,
that.
so, yeah, so that's what I'm understanding. So you're making these are special focus meetings, but these are the next.
Can you repeat that? I'm so sorry. It's really
You're
difficult to hear
you're
you.
breaking up, Olivia. Yeah.
So these are, can you hear me okay?
Now we can, yeah.
Barely.
So that's what I'm understanding. So these are meetings,
These are our regular.
Right.
our regular
But-
yeah, these are the next upcoming
Right.
meetings. These are regular monthly meetings that we're having January, February, and March. That are going
Right,
to
but I
be
think
inviting these
Olivia
specific-
wants to clarify, if this is the only agenda, when are you gonna do regular business that you talked
We will
about?
have the regular business on the agenda, but that
It'll
we'd
just
like
be
that
further
to be the
down.
first agenda item. And if we look at historically, we haven't had out of ag tourism, we haven't had much come up in front of the ag advisory committee in several months. So if there is one other thing, we'll address it. But otherwise, if we could just take this and this could be our agenda item for each meeting.
Yeah, but I think it's true, right, Olivia, that we do have our responsibility to review things that come up before the building department, and so we would need to also be able to address those at these meetings.
Correct. We wouldn't neglect that, but if this is agendized, we would address this just like we do with anything else, but we would have some members from the public here to provide input. And specifically, if we start on January, if we start with the floral people, and like I said, like that, in February and the next, and then March.
Yeah, and we could make sure to limit it and then move on to any other business.
Exactly. Absolutely, absolutely.
I'd like to recommend that floral people be put in March, because January, February is gonna be right before Valentine's Day.
Oh, thank you.
Good thought.
Very,
Yeah.
very good thought. So let's do, would it be appropriate to do ranchers, livestock, dairy, and then the row crops, is that okay, February for you guys here, you think? And then floral and those people, number 3, how do you all feel about that? Is that good?
Is that all of them are 3?
Well, I don't know, what's 3, well, then 4 could be the fish.
Fish and bumblebees.
The only thing we were missing is the fruit. and
Yeah,
nuts.
Fruit and nut, that's the.
Why don't we? The fruit,
I'd like them to bring things with them.
what about the fruit and nut people with the
Samples.
bumblebee people?
Sure.
Okay, if
Well,
you know,
that's the
right?
most relevant, actually.
Okay, so
That's-
number 4 would be the fruit, nut, and bumblebee people.
Oh, there you go. You can connect people.
I'm sorry,
Use it as a
Alright,
network.
perfect. So there's 4.
I'm not disparaging.
So first 4 months of the year, we're gonna do these, and then we could, throughout the process, decide if on the 5th month, we're going to put a separate
Perfect.
meeting.
So are you okay agendizing that for January, February, March, and April's meeting as we said them to you just now, Olivia?
Yeah, again, this all depends on what I hear back from management.
And here,
What'd she say?
Oh, repeat it, Olivia, and I'll repeat it.
This all depends on me running this by management and letting and seeing if this can even happen.
It all depends on her running it by management and seeing if they're okay with it.
Okay.
Yes.
And would she be able to let us know at December's meeting?
Will you be able to let us know in December?
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
I think this is great.
Yeah, and I guess one thing we should be prepared for is exactly, what we are asked to discuss. Like,
Absolutely.
To be able to define that maybe clearly, because it's like, are we asking about specifically what to do to promote farming and the preservation of farming? Or are we wanting it to be also a discussion about housing and
Maybe the next meeting, you could talk about like kind of
Yeah,
question, like
What
what you
categories?
want to
I
talk
think that
about,
would help us be
especially if
successful.
you want to go into.
okay. Hold on, Mike, I just want to say, Olivia, can you put that on the agenda for the next meeting? Moving this discussion on to the next level, which would be defining exactly what kind of input we want. And then we'll be able to discuss that and agree to something the next meeting. Okay,
Yes.
is that okay? Okay, and then, good point. Because the housing thing, I feel just falls under the, B just sort of falls under C, because these are all different things. Like if you think what's gonna help us to be able to farm here, and then you have all these 16 things, okay, the housing things and changing the regs here, the zoning, changing the regs here, just doing this here. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so yeah. Mike, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, remember, these are agendized meetings. So if you want to talk about housing, if somebody starts talking about water and everything else, you can bring them back and say, no, we can't talk about water. We're talking about housing.
Yeah, but it would fall under, this is the umbrella is things that we can do to help you on your family farm to be able to continue here, to be able to farm. And under the umbrella will most likely be housing, most likely will be water, most likely will be all these things. So they're gonna talk about those as it relates to that umbrella.
Right.
Right, yeah. Okay. So, okay,
We
great.
might have a lot of people showing up, actually.
Yeah.
I feel like lately, people have been asking me like, oh, can I send somebody there? That's a hard to reach group of people that I wanna, like at the growers workshop when I mention it.
Oh, what do you mean? We're a hard to reach group?
No, sometimes like growers and farm workers, like it's hard to reach, they feel like they're hard to reach, and engage with, and so they're asking me about growers workshop if they can send like somebody to talk about something or other, or have like a table. I was like, you can have a table in the back and,
Oh, good.
share information, but
Oh, okay.
so I'm just wondering, like, if you start to like pull people together, you might.
I think it's
More
kind of a
people.
pilot project, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's something that, I don't think it's something that I don't recall being done specifically like this, but I think it's really needed. So I think we can make a difference, right? But, yeah, so I think that is
Yeah.
gonna, people are gonna wanna bring in a lot of people. We might get more than what we bargained for.
Standing room only would be an amazing outcome.
It would. Okay, I think that's great. Is there anything else on this topic? Okay, so defining exactly what we're asking for the next meeting. That's perfect. And then, next item is D, agritourism event application title, discussion to recommend revision to the application title to encourage new applicants. So at the last meeting, we discussed the fact that it had changed from being called a certificate of exemption to be called an event application. Corin pointed out that it wasn't a fact at our meeting that we okayed that in the past. I think it was with okay, a lot of things, but we all agreed that we would discuss what we would like it to be to recommend to the county. So do you guys want to open with anything on that?
What's it called lately?
Well, right now it's called an agritourism event application. And
We should probably add the word permit exemption, so that way it won't be confused of needing a permit.
exactly. And it had a little box in it years ago that you could check mark that had permit exempt certificate, and you could check mark that. So meaning that's what it was for. So do you want to put the box back in or just change the title? I think change the title is good unless there's some reason we shouldn't.
I would do it, changing it.
Okay,
Or maybe keeping the title the same, but adding to permit exemption.
Can I ask a silly question?
yes, silly question from Chris O'Shea.
So who is required to apply for one of these?
For the ag tourism, event application? Well, the ag tourism, the guidelines, if anybody who engages in those activities that supplement their crop. So anybody who's engaging in a trackless train, a snack bar, those kinds of things, in addition to the crop, they have to have one of those. And a lot of people don't get them when they're supposed to, if that's what you're.
Well, that's kind of why I'm asking, because
Yeah.
I've seen a few come over from Tognetti, Repetto, Cozolino, Sayre, but then I see all these other
Right.
pumpkin patches
Then they do it.
that I've never seen come over
Right,
here
you're supposed to.
with like the errata, Farmer John.
Well, Rada's different because they gotta use permit.
Right.
So that's
I mean,
my
there's
question.
some people, yeah, there's some people that actually went the full way and got the big permit that they paid more money for so that they could do
They're
it.
not on the
Right,
agritourism.
right. They're in a
Actually,
different
more
thing, yeah.
like commercial, yeah, right.
Right.
It's like.
Okay.
Exactly, like commercial.
So like
already have
Pastorinos
permit
and
or something
Limos
like
would
that.
have those too? Or is that because that's?
I think Limos has that, right? The big permit.
Limos has a event permit as well. And it
Yeah.
and theirs came across our committee, it comes across about once every 5 years.
Okay, so there's different categories you can get paid for.
Right.
Your permit
And
is
then
not
use
so
permit
much.
is different than that. Includes.
Right. See, the agritourism was, the reason it was invented is so that you didn't have to pay this huge amount of money. So it allowed farmers to be able to add a little something extra, but it didn't impede their ability to do so because it was so costly.
Yeah.
Without needing a permit.
Right.
And without needing a permit, didn't have to go in front of coast commission.
Right,
Okay.
right,
Yeah, so-
exactly.
But I know there are some people that does the train ride, hay ride, or whatnot, that doesn't even have ag tourism.
Right,
They're
right.
supposed to.
Well, that's kind of why I was confused, because I've only seen a few come over the last year that I have been attending the meetings, but
Yeah,
there's a lot more little tree lots and pumpkin patches that I've never seen come over, but I didn't realize you could get a 5-year permit
You know,
or
And it's a different permit altogether.
altogether.
right.
Okay, and now there's, and it's an event permit, say somebody, you can go over to the county, correct me if I'm right or wrong, like, if you want to put up a concert and for one time, you could get an event permit. If you want to put a big corporate birthday party, you can go get an event permit. It has nothing to do with that.
Right.
And so because as big as they were and the Radical used to get a agritourism permit, but because as big as he has gotten, the county recommended that he get an event permit. And then an event permit for agritourism, it's you can't go back past with the guidelines to basically when it starts to get dark for an event permit, you can go further past that. There's different guidelines. Yeah. And it's a different fee and all this here.
And the agritourism guidelines are stricter, but for, you know, for the right reasons, because
Yeah,
we're
no.
given an opportunity to do it, whereas we might not otherwise be able to do it. Yeah.
And I really only called them out because I passed it every day, twice a day, if not more, and so that's the only
Wait,
reason.
who, us?
No,
Errata.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna say, stop by and say hi.
So it's all out there. And but anything bigger in square footage. But there are some that I don't know, say who that might not even know that have, you know, slide or a few little things that they're really technically supposed to be getting that agricultural.
Right, and certainly you're correct. Some people don't know.
You know, so it's nothing. So, but as far as the big ones, they're those two big ones that got use permits. So,
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying.
yeah.
Yeah.
No problem.
So, and that's probably too, that's really a good point, because that's one of the reasons, an additional reason that it should go back to being called what it really is, which is an ag permit exemption. Because if you call it an ag permit event, you're basically inferring that it's in fact that other permit, because that's what that's called.
Well, also to me, event implies that it's happening like one time.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
Whereas like when I think of a pumpkin patch for the Halloween season, I kind of know that it's going on for a few weeks. at least.
Right, exactly.
But I don't know if maybe that's a fine word to describe. I don't know what would be a better.
So what's it called right now again?
Well, okay, so,
Application.
Application.
For agritourism.
yes, thank you. Application for agritourism event, and then what it had in the old days,
I would say
thank you, is
agritourism.
it had a little check mark that you could check that said ag exemption, ag permit exemption certificate, because what you're getting is an ag permit exemption is what you're getting. And so
Agritourism.
Almost like-
Exemption.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah,
Okay.
Agritourism.
So let's-
Permit exemption.
exactly. So I would move to change it to ag permit exemption.
What is it? Ag
Tourism
tourism
Permit exemption.
So that way it's clarified it is ag tourism and it is a permit.
To be ag
Exemption.
permit exemption.
Ag-
Yeah, exactly. I think that's good.
agritourism.
Permit exemption. Okay, so, Peter, you want to make a motion for that? And then we'll
Before I
second.
make the motion. What does, everybody kind of like that or they got a different idea?
Right,
Or you
exactly.
gonna say something?
I'm just wondering, like, it feels like planning and building being their application probably should have a say in it.
Yeah.
Like, why did it? Yeah,
They're actually gonna decide.
yeah.
Right, we just recommend.
I do feel that when you have an event, it is a one-time,
So
you're throwing an event,
And-
but
tell
Yeah.
me the reason why we're recommending, because this title clarifies it a little better.
It clarifies it better, and what's happened to some people doing agritourism is then you're then sent to developmental review and all this crazy stuff that has nothing to do with it. And then you're just writing tons of emails, losing your mind because, okay, I'm not gonna go there. So you see what I'm saying?
I don't want to
We have some personal experience. with it.
Dad.
I don't mind making the motion. That would make the motion of us, write it down. Why we're making. So in other words, we could make the motion to talk about why we clarify. so they can know why. Because this is quite a change, but we haven't.
Yeah.
Well, it was appropriate to what it was, because it is in fact that it's not a permit. So,
I like to make the motion to have change to add tourism permit exemption.
do we have a second?
I'll second that.
So Peter Markey made the motion to change it to ag tourism permit exemption, and Crystal Shea seconded it. And the reason that we're asking for the change is because
We can make the motion on the change and then we can discuss the change of it.
okay, the reasons why.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll discuss it. And so let's vote on changing that. All those in favor say aye. And all those favor and say nay if you don't agree. No, there's no agrees. Okay. Everyone's aye. Okay,
And then
Thanks.
list the reasons why.
Okay.
And one was, there was confusion.
This brings clarity.
This improves clarity, but there's confusion. We should list the confusion. First, I think your suggestion should be first, this improves clarity. And then list the confusion.
To clarify that it's an exemption from.
that doesn't require a
the
permit.
use permit.
Yeah,
That's good. That's number one. Is there more? We have more. If that sums it up, fine.
That it is for like an agritourism period and not a singular event.
for agritourism, not a singular event.
Which clarifies what the guidelines that I choose most.
Right, because it's within a 45-day time frame that could be done twice within a year. So to clarify exemption from use permit, because it's not a use permit. And obviously, when it does cause confusion, I think it causes difficulties for everybody trying to do it. It doesn't make sense to make it more difficult. Number two, before the grower or the
Actually,
county,
one was what John said. What was John? Clarify confusion. That should be number one.
improves clarity.
Yeah. Improve clarity. That's right.
Okay, so number one, improves clarity. Number two, to clarify exemption from a use permit. To clarify exemption, that you're exempt from it, from a use permit. And number three, then, for agritourism is not a singular event. Okay, within ag tourism guidelines.
Which the title points towards, because it specifically says ag tourism points towards agritourism guidelines that's set up.
Okay, so what if we said it like this? Agritourism is not a singular event per ag tourism guidelines. Is that good? Okay, so did you get all that, Olivia?
Yes.
Okay, do you want to repeat it back to me? So in case I got, anything wrong here?
I have a reason for the revised title. To provide clarity, it is not a use permit. It causes confusion, and agritourism is not a single singular event.
Per agritourism guidelines. Just to add that part of it. Okay, does that sound right, everybody? Okay, thank you. And then, great. So you'll be able to let us know if it's a summer meeting, if they want to change it, what the planning's take is on it. Is that how it works?
Yes. Yep.
Perfect.
I'm sure it should be run by legal too.
Okay, well, whoever she typically runs it by, she'll be able to let us know by the summer meeting, you think?
Yes.
Okay, or give us a status in case, yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, that's great. Okay, next on the agenda, Pescadero Fire Station Pipeline Committee Member Cole Mazaragos Anastasio suggests the committee to draft a letter for this topic addressed to the county. So, Cole's not here. Would you guys like to table that until the next meeting?
It's,
Okay. Let's see, additional information.
before you go on that further though, even though, when we talked about the acreage that needs to be replaced. You did mention it was 2.5 acres before.
I believe that's my recollection, but I have to look, I took my letter sent to the county right off of the Coastal Commission's directive. So we could look back at my letter, if, anyone has a copy of it perhaps, or if you have it on your laptop, Corin, and we could see if it was 2.5.
I think I only had a copy of your other. I'll bring a copy.
Oh, okay, do you have
I don't
it?
know if I'm, I don't.
Oh, okay.
Can we ask the county what is the correct amount, and if it is different? When did the change take place?
Okay, so Olivia, going back to the Pescadero Fire Station mitigation measures, there was a discrepancy recently in a meeting that at the PMAC meeting, whether it was 2 acres that they were supposed to buy property to mitigate that prime soil, or whether it was 2.5. Growers believed it was 2.5, but they were told that meeting it was 2. Can we ask the county what is the correct acreage? Is it 2 or 2.5? And if so, are you able to let us know at the next meeting?
Yeah, and this was in your letter, is that correct? I'm looking at your letter right now.
Oh, thank you. Did my letter, I actually took it from the directive of the Coastal Commission's instructions. So does it say 2 or 2.5? That's 2,
Well, that's too.
okay, I'll probably do it. You're gonna go 2 to 1 for loss. Okay, so it doesn't say the acreage, it just says 2 to 1 for the loss of ag land.
Correct. I'm seeing the same thing.
So what's the loss of ag land?
What's the law fact line we're doing that?
So,
So
Wasn't an acre and a half, the loss of ag?
it, so in the letter, it said 2 to 1.
But it
So
was-
I don't know if this is correct, but this is what your letter says.
I understand.
At least 3.5 acres shall be provided to offset the 1.75 acres of the fire safety site.
And that's what I remember being pretty.
Yeah, it being twice the area taken out.
Yeah, so if it's an acre and a half, it's taken out, twice it's 3, and here she's saying. that they only need 2 acres, and so it can. Keep shrinking.
Yes,
By
it
the
does.
square inch before it's done.
But I guess what's the true?
Yeah.
I took that off of directly off of the instruction that was given
Okay.
from Coastal Commission.
Yeah, this is. your-
Unless it was a typo and it was supposed to be 2.5 versus 3.5. Maybe that occurred, but otherwise it would be correct, I think. So I took it off of that, so.
And the other thing too, that's one thing. The other thing is the change that they made that because they went on their own to the postal collection. They changed completely. Defining acreage is put amount of acreage in an easement, would that satisfy? And the according to Cal Fire, the
Coastal Commission said yes.
yes, and so, and here, a lot of people weren't agreeable on that change. And I reminded the PMAC committee, let them know that the Ag Advisory Committee years ago voted against the whole project to begin with.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
they're
so
just pushing forward.
would you be able to find out from the county, Olivia, how, I'm sorry, how many acres was the original mitigation property they were supposed to buy?
Yeah, I'm seeing if I'm actually looking in the staff report if it's stated.
Thanks. Yeah.
Food, nasty, and
What?
Nancy returned.
So Agni, Shafar, have you heard of him? He's, yeah, well, he's been in Redwood City office.
And we lost a good one that lived across the bay. I forget his name. Was it Barry or something?
Oh, Barry, yeah.
Yeah.
Barry, kind of fun.
Yeah, he was.
Mike,
So I'll
well,
double check. The staff report states the same information that's in Natalie's letter.
okay, so 3.5.
No,
Okay,
yeah.
3.5.
It was referencing to give you an example of what is needed to achieve.
Okay,
So you're
thank
correct.
you. Yes, thank you very
And
much.
so here at this, let me speak.
Yeah,
Here at the PMAC meeting that I attended, there was somebody from the floor that actually said it needed 2.5. And and I don't want to disclose who it was, and she, Cal Fire lady, public, corrected him and said it was 2 acres. And,
hence why we need to be involved.
and so here it's dwindling down, and then on that, regardless of the acreage, they were able to make the change completely differently 100% anyways.
I think the relevancy here is us as a committee need to have our thumb on what's going on here. And so keeping us abreast of it as much as possible, I think will be helpful.
And I feel that the point that was that rose anyways is post puts ag easements on properties they're gonna reacquire anyways, and especially before they resell them to a private person. So basically, there's no gain anyways, because post is already doing that. Where the other ways there is a gain because they're taking farmland that hasn't been farmed and putting it in production, so it replaces it. Where the with post putting the easement is not replacing anything and not saving anything because they put an easement anyways. That's the point.
Right.
Yeah, it seems like sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank
So,
you.
so basically, you might as well have nothing at all because it's the same thing. It's just kind of window dressing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't run by us as an ag advisory committee or anything. They just did it on their own because Cal Fire wants to have their fire station there. And regardless, they did an interview, so that's the best place to put it, this and that and that. But yeah, a lot of property owners that buy property, I said, they like to have their house in the best spot that they like to on their place, but they can't necessarily always have it on prime soil. And they have to find it on the non-prime soil of their parcel. I says to accommodate the rules and regulations, and Cal Farmers just come and say, well, we want it here regardless. And with a different standard. And here, San Mateo County is trying to preserve farm and ag land.
I think that's why it's so relevant for us. So thank you.
And the other thing too, that I raised at the meeting as well, and repeating myself, is when we tried to be hooked up 2014, it was deemed to the township by LAFCO to the township only. And so, and I said, well, if the fire department's gonna get hooked up to municipal water, why can't I get hooked up to municipal water where my property is adjacent to the municipal wells? So.
Just a heads up, time check.
It's time check.
It's 7:59, so Peter, if you want to keep going. You have
I'm done.
another full minute.
I figured we're done. Is this the last item on the agenda?
Yep.
We might as well adjourn it before our time's up.
Okay, we do have 30 seconds if anybody.
Well, let's run it.
Run it to the end. All right. All right, well, thank you, everybody.